On June 16th, SpaceX agreed to buy another company for $60 billion. dollars. It isn't paying in cash, it's paying in itself. And I wanted to know one thing: how many shares? The answer isn't in the contract: 123 pages, and the number never appears. Not in the summary, not in the definitions, nowhere. What the contract has instead is a rule. Here's the clause that does the work. Every share of the company being bought turns into a number of SpaceX shares, equal to something the contract calls the exchange ratio. So the contract doesn't tell you how many shares, it tells you a rate. And I went to look up the rate. It isn't a number either. It's two names and a division sign. So I looked up the first name. It's a fixed amount, $60 billion written into the contract. It never moves. Then I looked up the second. It's the price of SpaceX stock, measured over 7 trading days that haven't happened yet. So the number of shares isn't missing because someone forgot to write it down. It's missing because it hasn't been decided. And it won't be decided by SpaceX. It'll be decided by whoever is buying and selling the stock during one particular week that nobody has put on a calendar. Which raises the obvious question: what if that week goes badly? If the stock is high, $60 billion is a small piece of the company. If the stock is low, it's a large one. Same price, bigger bite. So I went looking for the safety valve. Deals like this almost always have one: a ceiling on the shares, a floor on the price, a right to sit back down at the table if things move too far. I read all 123 pages. There isn't one. And before you decide that's a SpaceX problem, it isn't. Every company that pays with its own shares takes this same trade. It's just rarely this easy to watch. There is exactly one clause that protects the exchange ratio, and it's worth looking at because of what it protects. If SpaceX splits its stock, or reclassifies it, or recombines it, the deal adjusts automatically. And the wording is careful. The parties want the same economic effect they had before the change. So they knew how to write protection. They wrote it, and they pointed it at paperwork, not at price. That isn't an oversight. That's a decision. Which brings the real question: why would anyone decide that? The answer is sitting in a definition on page 25. It's small. It's the kind of thing you only catch if you read the whole file. The contract defines the SpaceX share price twice. Once for the case where SpaceX is a public company. That's the 7-day average. And once for the case where SpaceX is a private company. In that case, you don't use the market at all. You use an internal valuation, the kind a company runs for itself when there's no stock market to ask. Now hold that and look at the dates. SpaceX began trading on June 12th. The offering closed on June 15th. This contract was signed on June 16th, the day after. And once you see it, you start seeing it everywhere. If the deal falls apart because regulators block it, SpaceX can owe $4 billion. If it falls apart because SpaceX fails to close, $10 billion. And how does SpaceX pay that? The contract answers. If it's a public company, cash only. If it's private, it can hand over shares instead. The sample calculation the contract refers to assumes the deal closes on April 10th, 2 months before SpaceX ever traded. And the two companies weren't strangers. They had already signed a separate compute agreement in April, and 85% of any break fee gets treated as a deferred payment under it. None of this is improper. Deals this size take months to negotiate, and it's normal for the language to cover both worlds. But it explains the missing safety valve. When this machine was designed, there was no market price to protect against. There was no market. It's a document built for a private company, being carried out by a public one. There's one more thing, and it's the thing I can't tell you. To know what each owner of the company being bought actually receives, you need one number: how many shares that company has. The contract says that number is in an attachment, Schedule 1. Turn to it. It isn't there. It's listed in the table of contents. It's promised on page 14. And then the document ends. That's allowed. Attachments can be left out and handed to the regulator on request. But the effect is this. From the outside, we can measure the deal. We cannot measure inside it. So, sometime this quarter, the company says the third, 7 consecutive trading days will decide, permanently, how many SpaceX shares exist. Those 7 days haven't happened. And here's what I keep coming back to. We're used to reading a share price as a scoreboard, a number that tells you how a company did. This contract doesn't use it that way. It uses the price as a measurement. Whatever the market decides that week gets converted into shares. And shares don't go back when the price recovers. 7 days, once, forever. So next time you look at a share price, ask what it's doing. Is it keeping score? Or is it a clause in someone's contract? This channel reads the filing, not the headline.